Hello Game Makers, this is GameMaker Rob, and in this episode we're going through an entire shop tutorial. We've added equipment slots to the player. We've added swapping items between equipped and unequipped, for example weapons and armor. We have NPCs with different items to sell. We also have buying items, automatically equipping them, and selling items as well. So let's jump into it. So this tutorial is a follow-on from my inventory tutorials. There's been a few changes since then, and this is also a good opportunity to show people who haven't seen the inventory tutorials, just to show them what I've got in place, just so they know what they'll need themselves. So we have some enumerators. Some of these are new. The E-slots enumerator is new. This is basically going to determine whether an item can be equipped in a certain slot or not. And I've defined 6 different slots where they can go. It's either going to be an armor, piece of weapon, maybe an accessory, or it's going to be like a potion or something consumable. We've also got a new entry in the item stats slot. This is basically what slot is this item going to go in. Item types. This is also kind of new. In the inventory tutorials, they were all potions, but this time we've got helmets, armors, shield, meat, sword, and axe. And we've also got the inventory enumerator, which has type and quantity, and this is the array for the items. Just take a look at that, just to familiarize yourself with that. As you can see, there's only 3 entries at the moment. I want to actually add one more. It's going to be the cost of the item, but we'll do that a bit later on. It's got the name of the item, how much of this item can be stacked in one slot, and which slot this item goes into, whether it's consumable, head, chest, or whatever. And here we're creating the inventory array. Here's some variables. There's one new variable, facing. This is basically how I am tracking who I'm speaking to, basically which shopkeeper is being spoken to. How we are setting facing is whenever the player moves up, down, left, or right, it's either going to be 0, 1, 2, or 3 for facing. And we're using facing in this way. So we're creating an interaction object called obj interaction. This red square in front of the player, that is the object that's been created. And all we're doing is, in this interaction object, is in the step event, we're just basically telling it to be in front of the player based on the player facing, and that's it. It's not the most elegant code. I'm sure I could find a way to make it less lines, but it's just the quickest and simplest way I could think of, so that's why I've done it this way. What else is new? There's also, I've got a new room, and these 3 objects are, what have I done? Delete one, moved one. Oh no. There it is. These 3 objects are the shopkeepers. In the game you can see there's actually a shopkeeper sprite above them. That's only because inside the NPC object I'm drawing the bench and then drawing the shopkeeper sprite above it, but in the game itself I'm interacting with the benches because the red square is going to be colliding with the bench. So that's how I'm doing it. These numbers you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 0 to 6. These are basically the items the shopkeeper has for sale. So 0, 1, 2, and 3 is going to be these 3 items. Sorry, these 4 items. That's what the first NPC is going to sell. the way that we are having the different a different item inventory for each NPC is we are setting this inside the create event for each shopkeeper. So if we double click on the object in the room, click on creation code, you can see that I've set up the array already like this, and each shopkeeper has a different array. And the last guy, I've used a for loop just so he has all of the items. I think I've covered everything that's new. Just if we go inside the OBJ NPC, in the create event, we've got this default array just to make sure we haven't forgotten to add it inside the room, and we're just drawing the content of the array here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is actually detect a shopkeeper, so we know which one we're talking to, and we're going to be doing that inside the step event of the OBJ interaction object. Let's make a new region. And we're going to say x1 equals x, y1 equals y, x2 equals x plus sprite width, y2 equals y plus sprite height. And now we're going to say if collision rectangle x1, y1, x2, y2, obj npc. So we're just basically checking to see if we're colliding, if the red box is colliding with one of the NPC objects. If it is, then owner.shopkeeper, which is going to be a variable inside the player that we haven't set up yet, is going to equal this, because this function is going to return the ID of the instance that we're colliding with, or it's going to return no one. If you're ever unsure of what one of these functions does, don't forget you can just middle click and it will explain to you exactly what it does. Some of the collision functions don't return an instance ID, so just check them first. Okie doke. So if we are colliding, set the shopkeeper as that. Otherwise, owner.shopkeeper equals no one. So either we're colliding with an NPC or we're not. So now we've done that. If we go into the create event of obj player, we're going to add this new variable and we're going to initialize it as no one. And now in the draw GUI event, we're going to add a new region. We're going to say if shopkeeper is not equal to no one, let's define some variables. Item width equals sprite get width SBR items all. Item height equals sprite get height SBR items all. Max shop items equals array length 1d shopkeeper dot a items. So this variable max shop items is going to be different based on which NPC we're talking to. And now if we create a for loop for var items equals 0 items, let's call it shop items actually. Shop items equals 0. Shop items is less than max shop items. Shop items plus plus. Let's declare coordinates. And then draw the background to the item first. Draw sprite, SPR, inbox, subimage 0, XX, YY. Draw the item. Draw sprite, SPR, items all, and we'll call, we want to declare the item, so we're going to call it a current shop item. No. We're going to go with shop item. It's very similar to shop items, so just be careful of this one. And shop item is going to be shopkeeper dot a items shop items. So remember that inside every NPC's array, it's just going to be a series of numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 2. So shop item is going to be a number between 0 and 6, and that's why we can use that as the image index to display the item we want to see. So if I've made no typing mistakes, we should run the game and we should be able to see 3 different sets of items per shopkeeper. Okay, so there's the first shopkeeper with 0, 1, 2, and 3. And there's the second one, 3, 4, 5. And this guy should have all of them. Cool. And then if we open our inventory with tab, this is how it's going to look at the moment. Okay, so similar to the inventory, we're going to use the variable selected item to decide which item we want to interact with. So all we're going to do is we're going to say selected item if selected item equals shop items, then draw sprite SBR selected item 0xxyy. If you didn't follow on from the inventory tutorials, this is going to be new to you. Basically, it's exactly the same as we're doing in the inventory part of this, and it's just going to be a number between 0 and however many items there are, or however big the inventory is. And all we're doing is, if we're showing inventory, pressing left or right, and it's going to increase or decrease selected item. Now, we're going to need to change this bit of code as well, and a bit of the other code inside the step event, because we're no longer just dealing with the inventory, we're also dealing with the possibility of being in a shop. At the moment, there's nothing stopping our player moving around while he's in a shop, which can cause all kinds of problems. We want the play movement to be disabled, which is what the inventory does if it's open, but if the shop is open, it's not. After, in the step event of the player, after we're checking for the inventory, we're just going to say if shopkeeper is not equal to no one, then disabled equals true. So whether or not we're showing the inventory, if we have a shopkeeper, then we definitely do want to be disabled. And because this is running after this code, it's going to overwrite it, which is what we want. Okie doke. So in this bit, if show inventory, we want to have another bit. We want to say if shopkeeper is not equal to no one, oh sorry, that's wrong. If selected item -1 is greater than or equal to 0, then just -1 from it. Else selected item equals max shop items -1. So if so that's all this does. And if we check, if you run the game, just make sure this is working. Okay, so the player is no longer moving, and I can cycle through the objects. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to find a way to allow the player to escape from the shop, to start moving around. And we don't want to open the shop automatically just because the player walked into it. We want to give the player the option to press a button and allow the shop to be opened or not. For this, we're going to need a new variable called show shop. I've typed here. It's either going to be true or false. And in the draw GUI event, we're going to say if shopkeeper is not equal to no one and show shop. So show shop equals true. And only then are we going to have this code. Okay. And obj player, we're going to modify this bit here. So if shopkeeper is not equal to no one, we can delete this. I'm going to say if keyboard check pressed VK space, then show shop equals true, disabled equals false. We always want it to be disabled if the shop's open. If keyboard check pressed VK escape, then show shop equals false, and we need to check if the inventory is open. Oh, and sorry, this should be disabled equals true. So if we open the shop, then show it. If we press space, show the shop, disable the player. If we press escape, close the shop, and if we're not showing the inventory, then allow us to move again. We also need to, down here, if shopkeeper is not equal to no one, and show shop, because we don't want to change, we don't want this to work if we are moving around, because moving up and down is going to change it. It's probably going to give us an error as well, because shopkeeper is going to change to no one. Okay, look, so let's run the game. Let's make sure this is working. So the shop doesn't appear. Press space. You can move up and down. Left, right doesn't work. Press escape. Press tab, and we can now move. Let's try that again on this one. Press space. Press escape. Cool. Okay, so before we get into actual buying and selling of items, I went ahead and I added like a little equipment array like this, showing a helmet, a sword for the right hand, a chest for the chest area, and a shield for the left hand. These icons just denote that they're all empty. If I quickly change, well, it's probably best if I show you what I've changed as well in the create event first. So I've reordered the E-slots enumerator because I want to have head, chest, left and right hands at the top. I've also added a cost to the items, and I have created an equipment array, which is what you just saw, and it's a slot for the head, chest, left and right hands. And here are the values for the costs for the items that I've added as well. Okay, and in the draw GUI event, there was quite a bit of code, but it's just drawing stuff really. It's all the stuff that's in this region here called draw equipment slots. So if you open it up, I've got one new variable called slot buffer, and every part of this region is the same, but it's just for head, chest, left hand, right hand. It's mostly coordinates. The gist of it is we're checking the slot, so whether it's going to be 0 for head, 1 for chest, 2 for left hand, 3 for right hand. So we're checking that particular slot of A equipped. If it's -1, it means it's empty, and we're just going to draw the empty slot sprite, which is one of these. So these are all the empty slot sprites, and this is the background slot, or background sprite, sorry. It draws the grey background first, then it's either going to draw an empty slot or an item, and then we're drawing this black outline around it. So if it's empty, just draw the blank background, and it's going to be 0 for head, 1 for chest, And actually, just to make it more readable, if we do this, it'll probably make a bit more sense. Okay, so we're just telling it to draw a different image for each different slot. Otherwise, if it's not empty, so else, we're drawing an item, and it's going to draw the chest for this one, whatever number chest is. Hopefully you guys are following along. If you don't, please let me know in the comments. You know, this I don't always explain things as well as I'd like to. Or, like I said though, this is basically just drawing everything. There's no real coding required. Like, coding knowledge for this is literally just drawing 4 different slots, and we're making 4 different variables, and each variable is going to be a different number. It's either going to be -1 or it's going to be let's have a look. It's either going to be 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6, because those are the only items that are going to fit in those slots. If I show you, if I add some items into the equipped array, you'll see what it looks like with actual items equipped. So let's give it a chest. That'll be number 2, and we'll give it a sword. It should be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's run the game. So this is what it looks like when you have items equipped. We've got a helmet, a chest, and a sword equipped. And the shield slot is still empty because in our array, the left hand is -1. We're actually going to be using our pickup script for buying and selling, or at least buying anyway, because it's basically the same code. What we do want to do though is we need to make a change to it first of all. var1 is going to be argument 2, and this means now that wherever we're calling the script, we're going to need to add in this 3rd argument. So the only 2 places that I think that I do that is inside the step event of the item object here. So that's the first one. And player object, let's do Control F. And here we want item instance ID dot quantity. Let's just check if there's any more references for the pickup script. Did I do it in the mouse as well? No. Okay. That should be it then. And one more change inside the script. We want to add a new parameter and call it quantity. So now, if we go back into the player object, there we go, you can see at the bottom, it's asking for an item, item instance, and quantity. Okay, so when we are picking up an object or buying it, we want to see if it will automatically fit into one of our equipment slots. So check to see if item will fit into one of our equipment slots. We're going to have a new variable, var eq slot, and this is going to be global dot a items item e item stats dot slot. That's going to tell us what slot it goes into. And I'm going to say if EQ slot is less than array length 1D obj player dot a equipped. If you remember, we only have the equipment array for the head, chest, left hand, right hand. So if it's a consumable object or anything else you add to it, we want to ignore it for this piece of code because we can't equip it, and it'll give us an error as well. So if it's an item we can equip and obj player dot a equipped EQ slot. So what we're saying here is if it's an item we can equip and the player doesn't already have an item equipped in that slot, then very simply we can say obj player a equipped equipment slot equals item. And then if we're picking this up from the ground, we're going to say with item instance destroy. Okay, so the rest of the code we had originally, we still want to do that, but only if we haven't added the item to the equipment slot. So we're going to add an else statement, and we're going to cover the rest of the code inside this else statement. And the comment here is going to be either the item doesn't fit into an equipment slot or the slot is already occupied. So if you've already got an axe and we're trying to pick up a sword or another axe, then we still want to add it into our inventory if it will fit. And that's why we're going to run the rest of this code. We're not going to be creating instances from the shop, so we're going to change this code a bit later on. But right now, we just want to make sure that we can add items to our equipped slots just normally by picking things up, because as long as this script works like that, we can use it for both picking things up from the ground as well as buying things from the shop. So I just got the right sprite. No. Okay, I'm going to add a few items into the room and I'm just going to pick them up just to make sure that I can equip them automatically. Let's run the game. So we've got 2 axes and 2 chests. So let's get a chest, let's get an axe, and if we check the shop, we have an axe and a chest equipped. The next thing we're going to do actually is probably display the equipped items with our inventory. So if we're showing inventory like this, then we're going to display the equipped items. So if we pick up this axe as well, we've now got a chest and an axe piece in our inventory. There we go, awesome. So it is working as intended in that way. So the first thing we're going to do is move the equipment slot stuff into the inventory bit of the draw event. So we're displaying the items we've got equipped with our inventory. So inside obj player, draw GUI, can minimize this and copy the whole thing and then delete it. Minimize this, minimize that. So if show inventory, let's just run the game, make sure it's copied over properly. Item height not set. Just copy these two variables over. Stick them there. We do need to declare these twice because these are only going to be declared if we're showing the inventory, and if we walk straight to the shop and open this bit, we try and reference item width, item height, then it's going to give us an error. But I guess what we could do is delete it from here, delete it from there, and add it at the very top. So now we all need to declare it once, and it will work for both pieces of code. Let's just run the game. So it picks up a chest, got an axe. Awesome. Okay, so we're actually finally ready now to buy some items after all that. It's pretty straightforward. Inside the step event of the player, we're looking for where we are cycling through the object. So here, if shopkeeper is not equal to no one and we're showing the shop, if keyboard check pressed, we'll say VK space, then we're going to run our pickup script, which really we should probably call add item. That'd be a better name. And we'll say shop item, no one, and one. Because these shops are just selling one of each item. So shop item is something we're going to need to declare now. Global, no, shopkeeper dot a items selected item. So whatever item we're hovering over with the cursor keys, that's the item we want to buy. No one, because we're not getting it from an object. Normally you'd have an instance ID if you were picking something up from the ground, but it's not relevant here. And we're just adding one of the item to our inventory. Okay, so if we go into our pickup script, if we left that as it was, I'd expect to get some errors when we're checking for item instance, because for buying from a shop it's going to be set to no one. So just to avoid that, we're going to say if item instance is not equal to no one. And this might be another good time to make a small script, because we're going to have this same code about 3 times, I think. Anywhere that we're checking for item instance, we need to check that it's not equal to no one. So 4 times in total, really. Let's just make sure I've not missed any. Okay, so think if we run the game, we should be able to buy some items. There's going to be a small bug, which I'll show you when the game runs, and that's because of how I coded opening the shop in the first place, and we'll fix that, don't worry. So go to the shop. We've already picked up a chest item, press space, and you see as soon as we open the shop, we're buying the first item. That's because we're checking the spacebar twice in the step event, and it's going to return true twice, so both things can happen. And what we want to do is open the shop, and then only if the shop's already open do we check for a key press for spacebar for this. So let's buy a helmet. We've just bought a helmet and equipped it. Let's buy a second one. It's gone into our inventory. Let's buy a shield, another shield. This guy doesn't have any weapons, so let's leave him. Let's go to the master shop, the guy that has everything. Let's buy ourselves an axe and a sword. Awesome. Okay, so to fix that little bug, we're going to go into the step event of the player, and we're going to grab this code from here and move it to here. I'm going to move this bit of code from here, put it down here, and all we're going to do is we're going to use an else statement because we don't want both of these things to run. It's either one or the other. So either the shopkeeper hasn't been activated and we want to press space to activate it, or it has been activated already and we want to buy something. And don't forget to add this like I did, otherwise it won't work, because this bit of code will never run if we don't add this bit in. And we want it to be false. If you don't know, this, like an exclamation mark and show shop, is the same as writing this. So use whatever, sorry, 2 equal signs. Use whatever convention is better for you. So let's run the game. Okay, so open the shop. We didn't buy something straight away, and if we keep buying potions, they should stack to 99. I'm just going to speed this up. Cool. Buy a helmet, buy armor, buy a shield. All we need now is a weapon. Let's go to the master shop, the guy that's got everything, and buy ourselves an axe. Excellent. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to have the inventory open as soon as we open the shop, and close the inventory as soon as the shop closes. That will make a bit more sense to me. So that's quite an easy fix. Again, in the step event of the player, if shopkeeper is not equal to no one and we're not showing the shop, show inventory equals true. If we're pressing escape, show shop equals false. We can delete this bit because we want the player to be able to move straight away, because we're going to say show inventory equals false. So let's run the game, see if this is a bit more user friendly. So as soon as we open the shop, the inventory opens. As soon as we close the shop, it closes, and we can still open and close the inventory with tab as normal. Awesome. So now that we can buy items, we're going to want to be able to sell them, but the problem is right now is we have no way to get over to our inventory or equipped items. So that is what we are going to be doing now. So inside our step event, as soon as we open the shop, we're going to say shop state equals shop, and shop state's either going to be shop, inv, or equip. And this is how we're going to know which particular part of our system we want to be manipulating. And we're going to be using the tab key to cycle between them, which means we need to change this bit here. So where we are toggling inventory, we just need to add and not show shop. So if we're not showing the shop, then we can cycle through the inventory. If the shop's open, this isn't going to work. Okay, so now under here, let's just put some comments. Quit the shop. Okay, so if keyboard check pressed VK tab, if shop state equals shop, shop state equals inv, and what we need to change is max shop items, because the shop, the inventory, and the equipped items are usually all going to have a different amount of slots. So if we don't change it, we're going to cause a crash. So for inventory, max shop items will be array length 1D global.ainv. Is that the right one? Yeah, cool. And let's also do this, because if we don't reset selected item, it's going to give us a crash as well at some point. Alright, so if shop state equals shop, change it to inventory, else if shop state equals inv, shop state equals equip, and max shop items equals array length 1D a equipped. And finally, if shop state equals equip, shop state equals shop, and max shop items, just copy this from the top. There we go. Okay, so now this is going to cycle between the shop, inventory, and equipped. We're not displaying this yet, but it's actually working. One thing we need to do is set shop state, and we're going to set it to inv, because inventory is going to be the first thing that we can use. So now we need to actually display all of this. One thing I did notice is, for some reason, I deleted the line where we are showing the selected item in the inventory. So we will tackle that first. So in the draw GUI event, if show inventory, inside the for loop where we're drawing the inventory, at the bottom we'll say if show shop and shop state is equal to inv, or we're not showing the shop. So either we're in the shop and we cycled through to the inventory, or we're not showing the shop. We want to say if selected item equals inv, which is the variable that the for loop is cycling through, which will be 0 to 5, I think. So selected item equals inv, draw sprite, SBR, selected item, oops. There we go. Subimage 0, and we want draw, item X and item Y, because that's what we're using to draw the inventory slots. That looks okay. Let's just add a comment. Okay, so draw equipment slots. This one's going to be a bit more lengthy because we're not using a for loop to draw them. I've just done each one individually. So the way we're going to do this is if shop state. If shop state equals equip and selected item equals eSlots.head, which is just a number. Remember, the number in this particular case is 0. So if these two cases are true, then draw sprite SBR selected item 0, and I'm going to make some new variables, equip X and equip Y. So it'll be easier to understand. Equip X equals this. Copy this, put it onto the next one, change it to chest. Two more to go. Last one. Okie doke. And finally, if draw shop. So if select item, what I'm going to do here is and shop state equals shop. So if it's the right slot and the shop state equals shop, then draw this. I think that should be about it. Let's run the game. Hopefully this should work. Okay, so get to the shop, press tab. Awesome. Let's see if we're going to cause a crash by going to the end of the inventory. No. Excellent. So before we continue, I made a small mistake. Where are we? Step event. Global.env is a 2D array. So what we want is array height 2D. Global.env. And that should prevent any problems. So now, if we're highlighting an object that's inside the inventory or equipped slots and we press space, we want to sell it. And if it's a highlighted item in the shop, we want to buy it. So we're just going to use the same area. Like when we press space to buy, we're going to sell if necessary. So what are we? So if where we're saying buy an item, we're going to change it to buy or sell an item. So if keyboard checked, press space. If shop state equals shop, and do this. I'm going to add an item. Else, if shop state is equal to env, so var_env item equals global.aenv selected item einventory.type. And then we need to check to make sure the slot isn't empty. So if env item is greater than -1, then we want to remove it from our inventory, which is as simple as copy this equals -1. There we go. Okay, and then else if shop state equals equip, var eq item equals a equipped selected item. If eq item is greater than -1, then a equipped selected item equals -1. You could just have this line outside like that, but we're going to add some more code. Specifically, we're going to add money to the player if we're selling. So that's why we need it to be inside curly brackets. So if we run the game now, we should be able to add and delete items from our inventory and equip slots as necessary. Let's grab some items first. And we'll go to the mega shop. So buying still works. Let's switch over to inventory. Sell our stuff and sell our stuff from here as well. Oh, got a small bug with cycling through the equipped slots. We'll fix that in a minute. Inventory stuff seems to work okay. And so does the shop. Okay, let's try and fix that now. Okay, so the reason we have that small bug is because we are still running this code and it's using a different variable. So we're going to just have one variable for moving up, down, left and right between our different item types, and we're going to delete this bit of code here and this code. We don't need it anymore. We're going to say if keyboard check pressed vk right, or keyboard check pressed, 3K down, and here if we're pressing left, or pressing up, run this code. Max in slots is, we're going to make a new variable. Here we're going to say current slots equals max in slots. This tracks. Okay, and in the step event, change this now to current slots here as well. And when we first open the shop, we want to say current slots equals shopkeeper dot a items. Actually, we want the array size of that. Array length 1D. There we go. And the last thing we should need to change is max shop items to current slots. So now if we run the game, we should have expunged that problem. Let's go to the shop. Pressing left, right, up and down seems to work okay. Inventory, that's good too. And equipment, yay, awesome. So the player isn't always going to be able to buy everything because he's going to only have a certain amount of money. So we're going to add this into the system now. So if we go inside the create event of the player, we can say global.gold equals, we'll give him 300. See how he gets on with that to spend. And what we want to do then is when we're buying or selling an item, if we're selling, which is these two, then if the slot's not empty, gold value equals global dot items, is it? A items, sorry. And then we want inv item stats, sorry, e item stats dot cost. There we go. Got there eventually. So gold value equals this much, and if we're selling, we don't want to get the full amount, so we're going to divide it by 3. And we'll be nice, we'll use ceiling rather than floor, so we get a bit more money sometimes. And we're going to say global dot gold plus equals to gold value. There we go. So I'm going to copy this line and put it in here too. and swap out inv item for equipped item. Alright, so selling, we're always going to get the money back there. Don't think there's anything else we need to do for selling. For buying, which is here, we want to check we've got enough money before we do the pickup script. So we're going to say gold value swap out inv item for shop item, and this time we don't need divided by 3 because we want the full cost. And I'm going to say if global.gold is greater than or equal to gold value, then do this. And I usually like to add in the sound like otherwise, play audio, play sound, you don't have any money, like that. But I'm not going to add any sounds into this because they never seem to work anyway on my recording software. So we now want to display the cost of the items and how much gold the players got, and we're going to be doing this inside the draw GUI. If we're showing the inventory, we probably want to see how much gold we've got as well. So let's just minimize some of these regions, make it easier to see where we're up to. I can delete that now as well. Display gold. I'm going to say draw set font FNT large, draw set H line FA right, draw set V line, do FA middle, draw set color, I'll do it in white, and draw text. What should we do? Let's try players X and then Y minus 32, and we're going to say gold. And then we're going to say draw set H line FA left, draw text X. No, we can't do X and Y. We need to do room width divided by 2 and room height divided by 2 minus 32. Copy this, and we want to say string global.gold plus G. There we go. Yeah, so now if we show the inventory, we should be able to see how much gold we've got. There we are. Global.gold is 300. So not very pretty, but it's okay for now. And the next thing you want to do is to display how much an item costs. So we can actually do that inside this as well. It'll be better to have it at the same point. We'll say if show shop, if shop state equals shop. Yeah. Then gold value equals shopkeeper dot a items selected item. Let's make it a bit easy to read. Okay, we're getting there. So we're getting, basically we're trying to find the value of gold item. One thing we need to do is, if it's shop state equals inv, yeah, that's fine, because it's going to be -1 or greater. So now, if gold item is greater than -1, gold value equals global dot a inventory, no items. And then we want gold item and e item stats dot cost. So now this is going to give us our actual cost, but we need to factor in whether we're selling or buying. So if shop state is not equal to shop, gold value equals stealing gold value divided by 3. Okay, so now we've done all that, we can actually display the gold. So we want draw set H align, FA left, draw text. We'll copy these coordinates, take off the -32, and say we'll just display the actual cost of the gold. So string gold value plus G. Okay, so now if we run the game and go to a shop, we should see some exciting figures. It's not very clear, is it? I can't see what's going on there. Let's try this as -32, and this can be room height. Let's try that again. it's actually the NPCs that are blocking the numbers. Let's just comment this out. And we're going to add one more thing just to make it a bit clearer to the player what's going on. We're going to say color equals C green for selling, else color equals C red. Actually, we could change that to draw set color. And take this out as well. Add it down here. Actually, let's have let's use a gold color for gold. Makes more sense. Or yellow. Yeah. Let's try that. Still got a weird display. Why is it doing that? Oh, it's because of this line. That's why. Silly me. Yay, it's displaying correctly. So, buying a potion costs 10 gold. We buy one, and we don't lose any gold. What didn't I do? Step event. Oh yeah, my bad. Global. So, we're not actually taking gold away. So, in the step event, where we are adding an item to the player, inside this bit of code here, we want to say global dot gold minus equal gold value. Alright, try that again. So buy the potion, yay. Let's buy the chest. Can we buy a second one? No, we can't. Let's try selling items. The chest, if we buy a chest, it costs 150. If we sell it, we only get 50 back. Yeah, that works. Why is it 4G? I know why. So, if gold item is greater than 1, we want to move this bit of text into here, because we only want to show the cost of an item if there's an item to sell or buy. Okay, cool. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do today is show you how to switch between the inventory and equipped items when we're not at a shop. So inside the step event, inside show inventory, we're going to say if not show shop, and then if keyboard check pressed VK tab. You know, we want to change this as well. let's move this to here. So if we're showing the inventory and we're not showing the shop, if keyboard check pressed VK escape, then show inventory equals not show inventory, disabled equals show inventory. So we're using escape to exit out of that now. And if we press tab, then if shop state equals inv, shop state equals equip, and let's just copy this from here. Current slots is this. Else if shop state is equal to equip, change it to inv, and we want to use this bit. There we go. So now we're able to switch between the inventory and the equipped items. The extra thing we want to do is we want to add items from the inventory to equipped slots and vice versa. So So right now we've got drop item. I think what we'll do is we're going to move this code from here. We're just going to delete this region. We don't need it anymore. And we're going to put it in here. But we want this bit to be irrespective of show shop. Like this. Okie doke. So if we're not showing the shop, then if keyboard check pressed VK space, so again we're going to check to see if the item is empty. if item is greater than -1, then it's not empty. If the shop state is inv, then we're trying to pass an item into our equipped slots or to use it. Okay, so check to see if it will fit into an equipment slot. So if global.a items item item stats dot slot let's make it a for loop actually. So what we're doing is we're cycling through the 4 different equipped slots, and if this item matches 0, 1, 2 or 3, which is going to be head, chest, left or right hand, then we want to do something, we want to add it to that slot. Well, first we want to check if that slot is empty. So if a equipped I is equal to -1, so check the slot is empty, then a equipped I equals item. So I'm going to add item to equipped, remove item from inventory. Global.ainv selected item. I want E item, no, inventory dot type equals -1, and we also need to set the quantity to 0 as well. Okay. And finally, break from the loop. That should do it. Okay, else so if shop state is equal to equip, I'm just going to search through the inventory. We can do this with, let's see, can we do pickup? No. We're going to have to heavily modify the script to do this, so we're just going to have our own for loop here. I'm going to say for var I equals 0, I is less than max in slots I plus plus, if global.a inv I e inventory.type is equal to -1, if inventory slot is empty, add to it. Then global.a inv I e inventory type equals item. We haven't declared it yet. And global.ainv quantity equals 1, because we're only going to have one axe or one helmet equipped at a time. Oh yeah, we have a declared item, that's fine. So we can use that. And don't forget to break stop the loop. Otherwise we're going to add the item to every slot in the inventory. I think that should cover it. No. Remove item from equipped. A equipped. Selected item equals -1. Let me just check, because I don't think we changed the quantity for when we're selling items. So scroll down to where we sell. Here we are, inventory. Yeah, so global.ainv equals -1. We need to check to see if we have more than one item. So check to see if we have quantity greater than 1. If global.ainv selected item inventory.quantity equals 1, and do this, else we have more than 1. There we go. So, just to recap, when we're selling an item from the inventory, there could be more than one. It could be a stacked item like a potion. So, we're going to check to see if there's more than one of the item. If there is, then... Sorry, if there's just one of the item, then just get rid of the item. And we also need to do this as well. We need to reduce it from 1 to 0. Otherwise, we've got more than one. Just reduce the quantity, and that should do it. Let's just test the game. Now that we've done all that, hopefully there's no problem. Let's buy some potions, and if we sell them, cool. So now we also need to test moving items. but tab doesn't work. What have I done? What I'm going to do is, if we're not showing inventory and keyboard check pressed VK tab, just make sure we're not going to have any errors with this. Let's run the game. Okay, so press tab to open and escape to exit. Oh, but now we're cycling through all of them, so that's another problem we need to fix. Okay, so I've discovered two issues and they're quite easy to fix. The first one is that if we have tabbed over to the equipment slots, then we're still going to have a white square on the inventory side. That's because of this. If we're not showing shop, it's going to do this. So the way to fix it is just delete this and delete this, because we're always going to be setting the shop state to inventory, which we will do. Well, we've already done it at the start. Just make sure that we reset it as well. Yeah. Okay. And the other issue is that we aren't resetting selected item when we tab over, which is we're going to do it here. So after we do one or the other, we're going to say selected item equals 0. So let's run the game again. Just grab two items. So we tab between them. Let's go to 6. Okay, awesome. So now if we want to trade it, we press space. And vice versa. Cool. So you can now equip items from the inventory and back into the equipped slots. So I'm going to leave it there for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I know it's been quite a lengthy one, but we did cover a lot of things in there. So I hope you learned something from it. I will catch you next time. Bye for now.